there is a deliberate attempt to discredit a man who has proven himself. Peter Obi. These attempts have tried every possible means that they are now hiding under nationalistic causes to pretend to be doing the right things. For those who are trying so hard to trash this honest man.
Be out of your mouth, he's not in government, stop criticizing him because he's not in government. Well, unfortunately, he's one of the most influential figures, political figures in the contraption, and people are going to talk about him.
Right.
So if Obi is mingling with the likes of Babangida, Obasanjo, and the rest of those guys that contributed to the death of the contraption, why would I be surprised that he's hanging out with Afebol Babalola? And why would I even have any form of trust for him? So, I mean, if you can help me with that, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I just feel like we are in that position where some of us have drawn the line between people we can ever have any form of respect or trust for, and people that we will never ever consider them. Forget about it. Just based on their actions. Secondly, I know people are going to talk about his past, his success in Anambra State. I'm going to be honest with you, not up until 2022, during the election campaign, did I start hearing anything about Anambra State. Throughout my entire life in Nigeria, just like every other state, I had never heard anything good come out of Anambra. So this is not a shade to Anambra, or I'm from Ogun State, it's also a shithole. Okay? Ogun State is a shithole the same way Anambra State is a shithole. If people are going to brag about the fact that Obi was successful in boosting Anambra's education system to be #1 in the contraption, that is still not something for me to be proud of, because amongst short people, amongst dwarfs, and no disrespect to my dwarfs, one of the dwarfs will still be the tallest. So if Anambra State is the best in education in Nigeria, it doesn't mean that it's something for me to be proud of. Point blank and period. Apart from that, we've heard so many other negative things about Anambra State. So people like me, it's just not possible to convince us to have that level of love or appreciation for Obi.
Forget about Anambra State. Forget about what you know before now. And let's look at our present reality. Compare Peter Obi with every person that has also claimed that they have the will, the desire to rule Nigeria at this present time. And tell yourself the truth. If you didn't know Anambra State before now, it also meant or means that you don't know Obi. It also means that you don't know Peter Obi, so you cannot judge him. It will be better not to close your mind on people. Never close my mind on anybody in Nigeria, because everybody in the country needs a healing from a systemic destruction. You don't need to trust Obi either. He's not God. Anambra is not a shithole. Ogun State is not a shithole. No place in the world is a shithole. The shitholes are people who never made Nigeria a project for glory. The country lieth in her glory, innocent of the crimes of those who have torn it apart. Nobody is convincing you to have any level of appreciation or trust in Obi. You only need to trust that one day this country will rise again. You don't need to love him for him to do the right things. You don't need to love Obi for him to contribute his quota to national development. If you think that Obi is mingling with Obasanjo, with Babangida, with Afe Balloon, all the people you think ruined the country, it will be nice to understand that you live in a space where you will interface with the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can as well kill everybody off so that you will not have to interface with them. Interfacing with people is different from mingling, interacting, and being part of them. There are so many things we don't choose in life. 1, our parents. 2, the religions we are born into. 3, the people around us. You have no control over them. Obi did not mingle with Afe Balloon, Afe Babalola. Whilst I reject the idea of going to beg anybody on behalf of Dele Farotimi, I will not hesitate to recognize that there are avenues for conflict resolution. Among these are dialogue and delegation. Some of the approaches which I think Obi is taking, and if you ask me why, everybody knows exactly why. Dele Farotimi is a guy who was numbered amongst the spokespersons of Peter Obi during the campaigns. He represented the Southwest. Would you want to mean that at this lowest time of his life, Obi should back him because he wants to sound appealing to you? No. In a system that doesn't work, that doesn't recognize the rule of law, due process, Obi will take some of these approaches to approach those who have set the trap, the cage, the rat cage, the clamp trap, in a system that will toss due process to the winds. Obi will do what he can do to deliver Farotimi from the grip of the people who have set the clamp trap, the cage, the rat cage for him. Before we can do any other thing, this man Farotimi has to be removed from that cage. Obi is deploying avenues that he can, considering that these people will not do the right thing. If they were going to do the right things, they wouldn't be doing some of the things you see them do. They would have taken due processes. They would have done the right things. They wouldn't have kept Dele Farotimi helplessly lying in the prisons while they prepared a defense against him in judgments upon counter judgments and expertise, tying the hands of the young man in a fight with the big head, a sledgehammer on an ant. And you say Obi should not do anything? In a fight with the big heads, they tied Dele Farotimi's hands to the back while they kick and hit the punches and tell him not to cry. And tell Nigerians not to cry, that they are the law. Obi only met the cage owner to open the cage so that the man who is presumed innocent until proven otherwise can get out of their cage. He did what he should do.
PDP, j'accuse. I accuse Atiku of spending more time with all this manana, Dubai type of big man type of thing, not really effectively taking on the government. And I blame Peter most of all, because Peter was a shining star. And so many people committed themselves to him emotionally, myself included. I'm not obedient anymore, to be honest with you, because he's such a disappointment. I mean, there's no aggression. The government is lousy. There's so many things this government is doing wrong. Contracts being awarded without due process. Economic collapse. Rampaging inflation. Widespread hunger and disillusionment. And, you never hear anything seriously punchy from Peter. He's too mild.
Yeah, well,
you see,
they should go more for the jugular, basically.
He should go, he's got so much. There's so much he could go for, and he would get so much public support if he did. I'm not just speaking for myself, by the way. I'm speaking for hundreds of obedient, ex-obedience or current obedience who are really, really disappointed. We don't want a weak opposition leader. He's the star of the show. Atiku, PDP, they should also be doing more. But really, Peter is the star opposition player, and he's not doing well enough.
Caption. Having watched the interview with Donu Kogbara on Arise TV and considering the concerns she raised, I felt it was important to visit her, as I have always maintained leadership and personal growth are deeply tied to the ability to listen, learn, and engage with a variety of perspectives. I sincerely thank her for the warm reception and useful discussion we had. These kinds of interactions enhance understanding and pave the way for constructive dialogue. All right, even this visit has you take to find out what really is going on. And I believe that there was a post after this visit from Ms. Kobara saying that, she's now an obedient.
Mama Kobara, Obi is still the shining star. Obi is not a disappointment. Obi is that single person who has played more opposition than a major opposition party like PDP. Labour Party should have been playing the next big opposition. Unfortunately, the PDP allowed one selfish rascal in Abuja to hold them hostage to detect the truth of what happens in a major opposition when he is mopped up in the ruling party. Labour Party pushed OBI out in the open to fight alone in the hottest part of the battle because of a greedy few gluttons who have made themselves tools in the hands of the cankerworm APC that corrupts every system. Yet Obi is that man who has been constantly pressed to drown. Yet he manages to stay afloat, beaming that hope he represents. We understand the frustration, but we don't have to take the easy route, pushing blames on the only one man whom we felt should lift the sword for us. Mama, please define your aggression. You want Obi to be a little more aggressive. Define your aggression in a system where we've all been mopped up in the same pool, rumbled in the same pool. Who will come for who? A man who spends personal resources for greater good. Peter, they want you to take on the government in a little more punchy way. Wear the cap, Nigerians will support you. And to Nigerians, if someone has run your establishment for decades and given you a reputation that you now have, a grass reputation, what would you infer? You would deduce that whatever you experience, wherever you have found yourself, is a function of the ingenuity of such fellow. The probity of your manager. Nigerians, look no further. We are narrowing down on the sources of our problem, and I once told you that the judiciary is the major source of your problem. The battle has become between the fathers who instituted the wraths and the children who are bearing the brunt of their decisions, their actions that has earned you the reputation you have in the Committee of Nations. If you told the same part of your fathers, if you don't fight, your children will not criticize you as we criticize our fathers now. They will curse you. They will disown you. Redeem the country. Redeem what is left now before it's too late. What you call the public opinion or the court of public opinion represents to a large extent the will of the people. Dele Farotimi cannot apologize to anyone until he's given the opportunity to prove himself beyond every doubt. Allow Farotimi to prove himself, to argue his case, to defend himself. Release Farotimi now. They lock up an innocent man and produce several judgments against him. They have asked that he be deroged, that he be removed from the list of legal practitioners in Nigeria. But what an unholy desire. Farotimi defend me, yet you give him no opportunity. You allow him no defense. Proving his assertions because you are big. So big than Nigeria that you have paid your dues. And many others on the other side of your rights haven't. True expertise and fleets of judgments, you have unleashed several punishments. Stop the sales of the book. Unfortunately, it's in their laptops, it's everywhere. We need to know how we got where we are. And if there are no truths in them, we will drop them. That is not enough either. Then I want the proceeds of the sales of this book. You still want to partake of the crime you allege. Our children want to know how they have been dispossessed of a happy Nigerian heritage. Yet they won't have their Ariwa, their Oduduwa, or their Biafra heritage. They want to know how their Nigerian dream ended in the pockets of a few high and mighty. Those who are the law and have continued to rewrite the laws with their logic, to put down their logic as the laws of Nigeria, pushing them down the throats of the Nigerian people in series of media presentations, invites, explanations, and what have you. Media conditioning that further erode our trust and our belief in the land, the country that will one day house our bones. We need to share this book. Nigerians that have e-copies, keep sharing this book. We need to know what they are after. We need to know what they are hiding. We need to know what they are aggrieved about. As if the shenanigans is not enough, they want to determine Dele Farotimi's fate as a legal practitioner. Determine his stay in his chosen career. Determine what he desires to become in this life. The rope Dele Farotimi. So that they can have the leeway to hold sway, to have their way in their rots. What else can you do? Of course, the plan that Dele Farotimi talked about is in full glare. The plots of those who will peddle the conditioning in the name of SANS, senior lawyers, have been creeping out little by little before our very eyes. Listen to some of them.
So it's a matter of where the person who is allegedly defamed resides or elects, or where the publication is brought to his attention that can come, that has jurisdiction. So jurisdiction is limitless. It is not confined to just the place where that book was published. If you write something defamatory about me in America and I get to read it in Lagos, I can't exercise my rights in Lagos, Nigeria. So in this case, that book having been widely published and widely read, and the complainant in this case, the nominal complainant, Chief Afe Babalola, senior advocate of Nigeria, is resident in Ekiti, and that is where he had become aware of this alleged defamatory comment. What then was his choice? That is his domicile. So he lodged a complaint. Again, that takes me to the issue of whether it's criminal or civil. Under the Criminal Code Act, it is a criminal act. There's criminal defamation. And then there's a civil defamation, which also can run pari passu. In the criminal defamation, Chief Babalola, or indeed any person who lays a complaint, is at best a complainant. He has laid a complaint about criminal defamation, and which body is empowered to deal with criminal issues? It is the police and indeed other law enforcement agencies who can investigate and elect to prosecute or not prosecute. If they find merit, they proceed to prosecute. They could also prosecute directly or through the Ministry of Justice. In this case, the police, being so empowered, have elected to go on direct prosecution, both under the Cybercrime Act and under the Criminal Code Act, because the matter before the Court of Appeal, the High Court, is charged under the Cybercrime Act.
Jurisdiction is limitless, they say. And exercise your right from anywhere. The way Babalola has gone about it. If you're in America, you can come and adopt somebody in Nigeria in the name of enforcing your rights from anywhere. You may not pass through the hierarchy of authority and procedures. If you're in Abia State and someone does something you don't like in Abuja, jump from Abia State. Use the police in Abia State. Move into Abuja, lift the person and move to Abia State and continue prosecuting the person there without recourse to the Nigerian police as instituted in their modus operandi. Even if I'm not in the police, I understand that you cannot enter another territory without informing the powers that be, that control, that are in charge of that territory. Even if you want to operate there, you have to go through them. No. Babalola is an authority. He didn't pass through the police in Lagos State because Nigeria functions as a federation. The states are appendages. No, you should not recognize the police in Lagos State and go through them. You should, from wherever you are, come and enforce whatever nonsense. So the police have done their investigation directly. These people don't listen to themselves. When they want to wriggle out of the mess they created, they will twist everything to get themselves out of the mess in the moment without thinking of long-term implications, without thinking of the effects and the things they are instituting. That is how we got here. Look at all the mess happening in our political scenes. It is one big man who felt that he can twist the methods to achieve an immediate end, not minding the ripple effects. And everybody followed. This is why we're here. Babalola once more is setting a precedence that will consume the whole nation. So if somebody annoys you, you can go directly from wherever you are, use the police, they will start prosecuting you directly as they so choose. Boycott the state authority and do whatever they like, kidnap you. Until people find where you are. This is not acceptable, and we will not buy into these lies in the names of science. Nigerians are going to be using this police to prosecute you directly if you keep quiet on this one. Blah, 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 blah.
To the subject of discourse, it is very unfortunate that, a petition or a book, has been written, without ensuring that the book is properly situated within the permissible parameters of the law. It is even demeaning, of the entire legal profession that a member of the profession would, write things that are not legally sound, factually correct, and unfortunately, in the age of social media, this book is now being paraded as something that people should read. A book that is full of lies and falsehood. I've read the book. And I find it demeaning that a member of the noble profession, would put this kind of thing together. It's a different thing if you're just an activist, you don't know the law. But a man who knows the law should endeavor, to observe minimum decorum when you are writing, to ensure that you keep within the framework of the law, not identifying, not targeting or attacking, personalities who have built their reputation over the years. It is not only about Chief Afe Babalola who has been attacked. The entire profession has been attacked. The justices of the Supreme Court have been attacked. And sadly enough, reading this book, even an elementary, a Law 101 student will know that many of the things that are written in this book are not factual. They're not legally founded. So, it's not about David and Goliath fighting. No, this is an attempt to rubbish the legal profession. A noble profession. You don't write things when you have no, when for example, I'm aware that Chief Afe Babalola was not involved in the conduct of all this particular case that this young man wrote about. Of course, his law office handled cases and so on. How many of the cases handled by his law office will he be personally involved in? I'm aware that it was only when this case had been decided by the Supreme Court that the eminent chief, the foremost legal luminary, got involved in ensuring that the judgment of the Supreme Court is properly enforced. So I think it's not about Chief Afe Babalola. We must be careful about how we frame our questions. It's about whether an individual can just wake up and just write anything, and then sell it because of the freedom of the so-called freedom of expression.
Tell Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Tell Mr. Decorum to put his phone on silence at least the next time he appears on national television. When the judgment has been passed, he, Afe, Balloon, or Babalola, will be to ensure that the judgment is well situated, the judgment of the appeal courts. Do you understand what this man is insinuating? When they have gotten to the highest of places, they bring those people that we have been hearing can collect billions to do the undoable. So when you hear that in the judiciary, they used to pay billions of naira. Who are those people they pay those billions of naira to perform miracles? We should be asking these questions. Afe Babalola has become an institution. He's in River State. He's in Ekiti State. He's in Abuja. He's in the north. He's everywhere in Nigeria that Dele Farotimi will turn to. And they have mastered every plan to tie his hands to the back while they throw the punches. Nigerians will never give up on Dele Farotimi. No matter how you paint it badly and want it to look like he did the wrong thing, you will have to prove to us and show us the ways he did the wrong things, not by the blanket statements you people have made that he blasphemed the legal practitioner in Nigeria in general. You are not speaking for the totality of the practitioners in Nigeria. You are speaking for yourselves. You cannot ride on that sentiment to put Dele behind bars. Allow him defend himself. And if possible, you have to air the trial of Dele Farotimi so that Nigerians will understand what you mean by defamation. They are being threatened in our own countries by people who have institutionalized themselves. They are above the government. They are above the police. They are above the army and every other Nigerian law.
The name Chief Afe Babalola. Don't forget that Chief Afe Babalola is not just an individual. Chief Afe Babalola has become an institution in this country, whether we like it or not. I know that the office of Chief Afe Babalola has offices in different parts of Nigeria. In fact, they also have offices outside Nigeria. And I'm aware that the Ibadan office, which is the headquarters of the office, has instituted an action. I'm aware that the Abuja office, headed by, a seasoned lawyer, has also instituted an action. The Lagos office has instituted an action. The various offices are working. That is why I expected that, the young man, in writing his book, would conduct adequate research to know who is doing what. Not just targeting this gentleman par excellence, the foremost legal luminary, Afe Babalola. It's an institution. You cannot just get up from nowhere and attempt to bring down such a renowned statesman, elder statesman, who has made so tremendous contributions to the development of the legal profession. So when you talked about some people filing, these different actions have been instituted by different individuals. Although the office is one, but there are different people running these different offices. If in their opinion, they want the input of the courts, they have gone to court in Ekiti, some have gone to LPDC, some have filed some civil actions. I think, the legal system, I do not see any conflict. The legal system knows how to resolve all of these issues without one being contradictory of the other. Unlike in the case of judges, where judges are involved, you have to go to the NJC and get the matter resolved by the NJC before a court of law can intervene. But when it comes to legal practitioners, there's no priority. In terms of where you go first, you can go to court where there's a criminal allegation, which is what has been done, to deal with the issue of criminal defamation, which is going on in Ekiti. Then some other people have filed an action before the Legal Practitioner Disciplinary Committee. So these different actions can exist concurrently. There is no rule of priority as to where you start first. What's important is that where any infraction has been found, where there has been a violation of the law, any of these processes, can be legally applied to ensure that
Nigerian government, are you keeping quiet? What goes around comes around. Young people, if they will not fight to clean up the rocks our country have become, you cannot keep quiet. Like I said, if you don't do anything now, your children would not just disown you, they will curse you tomorrow. Arise and speak up for the oppression. Arise and speak up for a country that we have no other to call home. A country that we can call our home. Arise. Watch out for Farotimi. Watch out. That was how they kept your heroes in their cages. Nnamdi Kanu is still in their cages. Several journalists have been in their cages in the name of defamation. Many that are unknown to you are in their cages with frivolous charges that they don't prove to the public. You have to sit up. You have to rise up. We have to demand accountability to a rascally government. Enough is enough. Nigerians deserve the right to live in a dignified manner other than the humiliations you give them all over the world. If you turn your back on Dele Farotimi, Nigerians, maybe because it is not your own hero that they are holding captive, or maybe because they haven't released your own hero, your hero will keep staying in the trenches and in their cages. We have to create an enabling environment to release every prisoner of conscience, every person that they have held in their cages this manner.